Sportscast. Sportscast, April 9th, 2020. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, Periscope, iTunes, and also on YouTube. And if you are on iTunes, please leave a rating and review. It will help us out tremendously. And, of course, you can visit us on thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net for the latest and greatest. Today's sponsor is Instant Bible app. Create verses and pictures. Download Instant Bible app in the iOS App Store. An article from Armando Salguero published last night revealed Tua Tagovailoa had unreported injuries, also had a failed physical recently with one team. Where does Tua's stock be in the NFL draft? Joining us today, Ty Turner, to flesh things out. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
So big news last night, of course, a lot of NFL draft talk in the sports world, and of course the back and forth with the Dolphins. Is it Tua? Is it Herbert? Herbert is trending a little bit more for the Dolphins. Ty, what have you heard?
Yeah, well, to just address the last question that you asked, or you stated, the last question you asked, or the last statement that you stated, I definitely say at this point, you could definitely, if I was the money, the odds are on Herbert to Miami. Mondo Segura actually just did an article today on Herbert, and he actually talked to Mario Cristobal about Herbert's leadership. So it definitely seems to be a trend with Miami, whether it be the odds, whether it be the sourcing, whether it be even the Miami media, that there kind of has been a little bit of an about face away from Tua and toward Herbert. And if I were to, and you saw my most recent mock that I posted, I think it was 2 days ago, I have Herbert going to Miami. As far as Tua goes, yes, I guess actually, one said one. I don't know if it's Seguro said one, or was it two teams that failed Tua? Is it two teams that failed Tua, or was it one?
I was reading one that he failed a physical.
Okay, so I heard one, and then I heard somewhere else two, and one of them are drafting with it in the top 10. I heard it was two different reports of him having injuries to his hand. I believe one was supposed to be a broken hand. The other one was a broken wrist. I believe the wrist is being disputed by those close to Tua, but I guess he did have a broken hand. I guess he broke it prior to spring ball, I believe, in 2018, I want to say. So he did have a broken hand. The other one is still being disputed. Supposedly he had a broken wrist. So as of right now, Tua Tagovailoa's injuries are, he had two tightrope surgeries on his ankles. He had a knee injury. He had a broken hip that required surgery, and he had a broken hand. They're disputing a broken wrist, but there's a report of a possible broken wrist. So it is getting pretty long. His injury problems are pretty substantial. And the thing that I would worry me most regarding Tua is the fact that he didn't get hit a lot at Alabama. He played behind perhaps the best offensive line in college football. Last year Jonah Williams went in the first round. This year, Jedrick Wills is going to go in the first round. Next year, Alex Leatherwood will probably go in the first round. So he had a plethora of first-round offensive linemen protecting for him. He was throwing to first-round wide receivers. So he really didn't get hit that much. A lot of just straight, he just throws the ball, makes a play. And yet when he did get hit, he just a plethora of injuries. Very concerning at this point. And the fact that another report came out and two teams, or at least one team, maybe two teams failed him. And one of those teams is drafted in the top 10. Is one of those teams the Chargers or Dolphins? I don't know. So,
you still there? Ty Turner? Okay, we're reconnecting. A little bit of a slow internet day, kind of poor But Ty Turner is going over again what's going on with the latest injuries, latest news on Tua Tagovailoa. Not doing really well with the report. Once we get Tyler back on, let me see if I can get him back. He has to call me. I mean, I should use his phone. Give me a quick pause, guys. Let's see if I could call him on the phone. Oh, wait. Ty, you're back. You're back.
I am.
Okay, so let's go over the article.
I don't even know where. Did you hear me at all?
You cut out. Oh, gosh.
We might have to do my phone, man. Seems like Skype's a little bit. It just kind of goes in and out of service, whether it's my phone or not.
Okay.
I know the phone is not as clear, but the thing is, it's more reliable.
I gotcha. Yeah. Let me call you through your phone.
Sounds good.
Oh, wait. Sorry, guys. We're going through the Tua Tagovailoa gossip, I guess you can say. And he is projected to go to the fifth or sixth round. No, the fifth or sixth pick of the NFL draft. For some reason, I gotta call Tyler. It was going well. Let me see here. This is an interesting podcast, guys. Sorry, the communication line is not the best, but let me go back. I wish we had a commercial break, but we don't. I have to use. Then go through. This is the biggest pause. Let me. Skype was working fine, but Tighter. We're going to have to go through Skype.
I'm so confused. So you're called my phone and it's not working?
It's not working. I don't know if it's Skype, if it's being overloaded on their end, or if it's just my internet connection. I don't know, but we'll just have to go through the punches on this one.
Okay, can we just start from the beginning? Because I don't even know her.
Yeah, so
I'll just go back to the beginning.
So Armando Salguero obviously reported last night that Tua had unreported injuries, or a injury report. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So the report by Armando Salguero was that, and I'm not looking at the article, so I'm going off my memory. He had two different hand injuries that were undisclosed, supposedly a broken hand and I believe a broken wrist. I believe Tua's camp is denying the broken wrist, but he did have a broken hand, I believe, before spring camp. I think it was in 2018, but I'm not sure. That's I believe. I believe that at this point it has been confirmed Tua had two tightrope surgeries, a hip surgery due to a broken hip. He had a knee injury. He had a broken hand and possibly a broken wrist. So that is a lot of injuries. And what I said, and I don't know if you heard it, but what I'm going to say again, Tua did not necessarily get hit a lot at Alabama. He played behind perhaps the best offensive line in college football. He played with the best possibly best wide receiver core in college football. So he had a lot of clean pockets. He had a lot of, grab the ball, get the snap, throw it out, go down the field, score a touchdown. There wasn't he wasn't put in harm's way a ton, but obviously he got injured a lot, which it is concerning. It is very concerning at this point. And like I said, today actually Armando Segarra did an article on Justin Herbert. He did an interview with Mario Cristobal talking about Justin Herbert's leadership ability, and I can definitely tell by the Miami news outlets that they're kind of doing an about face, and they're definitely pursuing a lot more Justin Herbert information, because I do believe at this point it's looking a little more likely that Herbert will be the draft pick of Miami, not Tua.
So this is the unreported injuries that Armando Salguero discovered. The first one was a broken left index finger from March 2018. No missed games.
Okay.
Second was sprained right knee, October 2018.
Yep.
No games missed. Left high ankle sprain, December 2018 surgery. No games missed. Right high ankle sprain, October 2019 surgery. 1 game missed. And, of course, the dislocated right hip with posterior actibular wall fracture, November 2019 surgery missed. No 3.5 games. This is pretty concerning. This is not something to just take lightly.
Yeah.
It's a very serious decision the Dolphins are taking. This is a franchise quarterback decision, even though you have Josh Rosen in your bench. But this puts Justin Herbert's stock up now that there's been speculations that it was 50-50 a few weeks ago. Now it's Herbert. I guess 60-40, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You hear all these different conflicting reports. You never know exactly what the brass is thinking. But you're getting the news outlets from Miami that is definitely reporting some information that's saying, hey, it's troublesome that this has happened with Tua. Then they're also doing a lot more research on Herbert, and they're interviewing his coaches. And then you keep the individuals that you really have to listen to is former GMs, former execs, scouts, and what are they saying? Like, what are they hearing? Because remember, in every business and every field, like GMs know each other, scouts know each other, business execs know each other. So what are execs saying? What are GMs saying? What are scouts close to the team saying? And it definitely seems to be, they seem to be really troubled by what they're hearing in regards to Tua Tagovailoa's injuries. And I think at this point, I would say if I was going to lay the money, and even how the betting odds are going, I would probably say Justin Herbert probably, as of today, would probably end up at Miami.
How about the Chargers? Do you think they'll have doubts as well as the Dolphins, or do you think they'll just take them and move forward?
I mean, if you just are going off of Tagovailoa's tape, I mean, the guy was highly productive. I don't have the number in my head, but I believe he won 23 of 25 games. He won a national title. He led them to another national title. His touchdown to interception ratio is crazy. I think it's like 8-1. I'm not looking at it right now. I'm just going off of what I believe the numbers are. I believe his completion percentage is darn near 80%. When you just go off the tape, the production, the stats, what you see with your eyes, it's kind of hard to argue that Tua Tagovailoa is not maybe the number one pick. But then when you look at that injury history, and then couple that with some physical limitations, like he is a smaller guy, he isn't like a freak athlete. I think most of his testing numbers, when they tested his 40 and stuff, were more, 4.7, 4.8 kind of guy. When you look at some of that, the injury history, then obviously that comes into play. And then you look at even the freaky amount of talent that he had around, and the number of first round draft picks he had on the offensive line at the wide receiver and skill positions. Um, that's hard to say because if I was the Chargers and you see that production and you see the player that produced at such a high level and you see the tape of a guy that just made almost a video game like production at Alabama, you would definitely say, hey, man, that's a great pick at number 6. We get him at number 6, what value we get. But then you see the risk of the injuries. But yeah, I think if he's there at number 6, I believe the Chargers would take him because the Chargers need a Taylor, but he's a bridge quarterback. He's not a long-term option. They don't seem, they've been on the record to say basically they're going to pass on guys like Cam Newton and Jameis Winston. So that would lead you to believe they're going to draft a quarterback, and the only other guy would be maybe Jordan Love. But Jordan Love was an inconsistent quarterback at the Mountain West level. And while he doesn't have the injury concerns of Tua, and while he does have some upside, while that guy does make some plays that are definitely show a pretty high ceiling, he also, between just like the turnovers at the Mountain West level, the off-field arrest with marijuana possession, I don't know. I would probably take a gamble more on Tua than Jordan Love. That's just my opinion. So I think if Tua Tagovailoa is there at 6, and I do believe the Chargers would draft him, yes.
Something to definitely look at. Of course, the NFL draft is on April 23rd and 25th. Hell virtual. People are scared over IT concerns and losing the internet, but, it could happen, but NFL will take care of it eventually. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's go to your NFL mock draft number 2, which came out April 6th, a couple days ago on Monday. Let's go through the changes. You picked Bengals going Joe Burrow. No change there.
Yep.
Redskins go to Chase Young. No change there. Detroit Lions, Jeffrey Okudah. You heard something about the Lions today, haven't you?
Well, I think they might possibly be. A good enough deal comes their way, and they think they can still get a guy like Jeffrey Okudah, maybe as a backup plan, a guy like Isaiah Simmons. I could see them possibly trading back with possibly the Chargers, maybe even Miami. But does Miami and the Chargers at this point even have to move forward in the draft to get Justin Herbert or Tua Tagovailoa? I don't think so. I don't know. I just really while there was a report by Ian Rappaport, who's one of the most legitimate inside sources for the NFL out there. I just don't see the logic behind at this point. Tua just has too many injuries. So why? I just think I don't know. I don't know if San Diego wants Tua more than Justin Herbert. I don't know if Miami thinks that they have to trade up to get Herbert. So I don't know. I heard that report, but as of today, just leave the Lions there. I don't do trades in my mock drafts, and I just don't know if there's going to be a trade there.
Number 4, the Giants. You have Isaiah Simmons, but at the first mock draft, you had Mekhi Becton. Why the switch?
Well, because I heard they really like Simmons. That being said, I actually, immediately after doing that, my next mock draft, are going to see Tristan Wirfs there because I heard they really like Wirfs. They need an offensive tackle. So that's why I'm saying mock drafts are fluid, bro. I mean, they just change. So I'm actually leaning Tristan Wirfs as of today. But, yeah, possibly Simmons there.
That position definitely is kind of interchangeable. Number 5, Ty has Justin Herbert this week. You had Tua last week. It feels like Herbert is a keeper for that 5th spot.
Yeah, as of right now, I'm definitely feeling good about Herbert to Miami.
Number 6, San Diego to Tua, so he interchanged 5 and 6 from last week.
Correct.
7, Carolina Panthers. You got Derek Brown. You had Simmons last week. This week, Derek Brown from Auburn.
Yeah. That once again, that's if that's having Simmons go at 4, probably next week when I change it, I'll probably go back to Simmons because I have Wirfs going at 4. But so yeah, that's where it's interchangeable. But if Simmons was gone, I think Derek Brown, they definitely need some defensive help in general and the best defensive lineman in the draft. I think they go with Brown there if it is not.
Why is Wirfs' stock been going up? I mean, I saw him early on at like the 20s. Now he's getting up there in the single digits.
He means 20s might have been before the combine. I mean, he had a pretty remarkable combine showing. He has a pretty good. The guy was a freak. He runs a 4.8 at his size. So I really like Wirfs as a prospect. I think the NFL really likes him, and I think he'll be, if not the first offensive tackle off the board, he'll be second or third.
Number 8, Arizona Cardinals. You have Jedrick Wills, no change from last week.
Nope.
Number 9, big change. Jordan Love goes into the single digits to number 9, Jacksonville Jaguars. Why, Ty?
Because, a little bit of a reach there, possibly, and then possibly he could fall even lower. Jaguars could get him at 20. Maybe Jaguars trade up a little bit in the teens to get him. Maybe the Raiders even take him at 12. I'm just saying that the value of the quarterback position is so high that a guy like Jordan Love is there. If they think that someone else could jump ahead and take him, then they just say, hey, here at number 9, let's take Jordan Love.
Does that send a bad signal for Minshew?
I don't think Minshew's a long-term. Minshew is a fine quarterback. He had a pretty better than expected freshman year, I want to say, but yeah, freshman year in the NFL, first year in the NFL, rookie season. But I think he still has his limitations physically. I don't see him as a long-term guy.
Mekhi Becton went to number 10. He was number 4 last week. Why Cleveland?
I'm pretty sure they're going to go offensive tackle. The only way they wouldn't is if a guy like Isaiah Simmons drops to number 10, but I have Simmons off the board, so there you go, the offensive tackle route. And Becton, he's a freak. He's a physical freak, big guy, strong guy, aggressive guy, athletic guy, so I like him there.
Last week you had the Jets getting Jerry Jeudy. This time Tristan Wirfs, but you say Wirfs is going to be a higher pick for next week's draft.
I have 4, but if Wirfs was there, that'd be kind of hard to pass. That's a top 10 level offensive tackle. They could still use some offensive line help. So that's where I saw that. But I have Wirfs going 4. So next week, I probably even have it in my mock because I usually update them pretty frequently. I don't know where I have them.
Maybe you'll increase the acceleration. Maybe you'll change it every day.
Well, I tell you what, CeeDee Lamb at number 11. If the Jets like Lamb, because they need a wide receiver, I could see them going Lamb. You could also keep an eye on Andrew Thomas there if they go the offensive tackle route.
Number 12, you kept the Raiders with CeeDee Lamb.
Yes, and actually next week, spoiler alert, I do have them taking Andrew Thomas at 11. Number 12, I have the Raiders going CeeDee Lamb. Correct.
Have you heard rumors about Raiders wanting a quarterback? Is that something you've been hearing?
Yes, I have, and that's why I'm saying maybe the Jaguars go 9 because they might think at 12 they might take Jordan Love. And so there has been some rumblings, maybe at number 19. There's a lot of people to watch out for. Could the Patriots still go quarterback? And then you always have to watch about the Colts. Remember, the Colts are drafting 34. They're just outside the first round. Rumors are they still want a quarterback. They got Philip Rivers on a 1-year deal. Would they trade back into the back half of the first round, to get Jordan Love? I think they could.
San Francisco 49ers, you have Jerry Jeudy going to the Niners.
I mean, the 49ers right now, they could use a DB, but they could, if C.J. Henderson's the guy that I think I had there before, but they also could need a wide receiver, and a guy like Jerry Jeudy's there at 13. I don't know how they could pass that up.
Buccaneers got Andrew Thomas. You mentioned him before already.
Yeah, and I'm looking at my new mock draft that I already have going, and I actually have them taking Josh Jones. I just think they really want an offensive tackle. They brought in Tom Brady. Their goal is to win now. What do they need? They need help. They need help on the offensive line, in particular at right tackle. And so Andrew Thomas is there. They'll take Andrew Thomas. Josh Jones is there. It may be a little high for Jones, but I still could see teams need offensive linemen. This is an offensive lineman needy league right now.
I've seen that.
So
yeah.
I could see Josh Jones, even though he's the 5th best offensive tackle, even though I think he's more of a late first round kind of talent. Yeah, I could see him going there.
You dropped Henry Ruggs stock to Denver, number 15. Why?
It's not as I didn't drop his stock. I think that's a little bit of a, no offense, my man, but I think it's a little disingenuous. I still think Henry Ruggs is maybe my top wide receiver. I just think that the Niners, Judy fits better. I know the Jets and the Raiders really like Lamb. They both like Lamb. So I think he'll go to the Jets or the Raiders if they don't go quarterback, the Raiders, that is. And so then at number 15, Denver Broncos, who could use a wide receiver, they definitely could use that guy who's a vertical threat, and that is what Henry Ruggs is. So I'm looking right there, and they're like, hey, we're going to take Henry Ruggs.
You do you think CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy are interchangeable when it comes to the pecking order of the draft?
You know, you hear 10 people, I would say you 5 and 5. 5 say one, 5 say the other. I prefer CeeDee Lamb because I think guys that can play through contact, I think guys that are dangerous the second they get the ball, you might be all over them. Not only do they make the catch, but then they also get another 15, 20, 25 yards after the catch. And guys that, maybe the ball is just a bad ball and they just have great ball skills and can come back in kind of a way of like a DeAndre Hopkins, not Demetrius, he's the former boxer. DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald in the past, Chris Carter in the past, guys that maybe are not the biggest, not the fastest, but just have terrific ball skills, terrific after the catch ability. I just really like at the wide receiver position. I think they go on to be successful NFL wide receivers, and that's what I see with CeeDee Lamb. I love Jeudy as a route runner. I love his ability to just get open. I just think he's a little thinner framed, and I think that's going to be a little more problematic when it comes to getting jammed and making catches. But I love Jeudy. I just would take Lamb a little above him, and the reason why I really like Henry Ruggs is Ruggs is something you can't teach, 4.27 speed, and I think his ability, he's just a mismatch because of that. So that's why I would go Lamb first, Ruggs second, and Jeudy third. That's my personal opinion, but whatever. You're not wrong by saying the other way around.
And Jerry Jeudy is more of a route runner, right?
Yeah, Judy's a great route runner. He's a better route runner than Ruggs. There was a video of them side by side doing route running, and Jeudy just was really effortless in his cuts. He's just a very effortless route runner. He just seemingly goes out. Ruggs is a little more like glitchy. He was like a little more. He was a little rougher when he was doing his routes. It was less fluid. Best word to use is less fluid.
Less fluid. Atlanta Falcons. You have C.J. Henderson. You had Henderson at number 13. Now he's at 16.
Yeah, and I'm keeping him there. They need a defensive back. He's the second best defensive back in the draft. That's why I'm going there.
For a lot of weeks, we had the Cowboys getting Clavon Chaisson.
He still does. Just leave it there because I'm going to do my new mock. I still think Chaisson goes there.
That's the thing with these mock-ups. They're just so fluid. Things could change.
I'm changing. Well, I sent you a new one today. You're going off my one.
I thought you just copy and pasted. My bad.
I would go off the one that I sent to your
to the chat. I see it here. I got it open.
Yeah,
okay, let's go to okay, so you got Chaisson back. Okay, so this is mock number 3, guys. So this will be released.
This is going to be released because it's second round too. So we have second round.
And when will you release your mock up number 3? You think?
Next Monday.
Okay, perfect. Miami Dolphins, Jordan Jefferson, LSU. I like that one.
Oh yeah, I love Jefferson. I think he's second best route runner to Jeudy. He's a guy that can play inside and outside. And guess what? You're the Dolphins. This is why we were talking about in the chat. Don't get rid of the other 2 first-round picks to go get Burrow. You need to get better. You can get a first-round wide receiver, a guy who's big time. And then I'm just going to do spoiler alert. At number 26, Austin Jackson, an offensive tackle. You just got a first-round offensive tackle. You just got a first-round wide receiver. You keep your second-round pick, and I'm just going to jump ahead and say who you get. You get Jonathan Taylor. So you get a starting running back, a starting offensive tackle, and a starting wide receiver to go along with a franchise quarterback. If you get rid of all of those and take Joe Burrow, you're not better at running back, you're not better on offensive tackle or on the offensive line in general, and you're not better at receiver. So congratulations, you got Joe Burrow, but who is he going to throw to? Who's going to protect him? And who does he have in the run game to alleviate the pressure for him to consistently make plays? That's why keep that 5th pick.
The Miami Dolphins GM could be listening to this podcast, so.
This should, yeah.
Okay, Raiders, Javon Kinlaw, South Carolina.
Yep, and yep. So I say Kinlaw. So you're going to see a little thing. So I have, according to my new mock, I'm going to have Jaguars taking Isaiah Simmons just to fill you in. So
Yeah,
and I have at number 20 now the Jaguars taking Love at 20.
I see that. Wow.
Now that so he still goes to Jaguars. Same team, I just have him going later
Yeah.
because I've been following the trend and I'm hearing people say that they think that actually Love is probably going to go to the back half of the first round instead of the first half. Like
He's still first round. No matter
there's
what.
enough apprehension by teams because of his last year film that I think he's going to trend a little more down. Like he's going to be the guy that drops a little bit. But I still wonder if the Jaguars, in order to get Love, because then they might be thinking at 19 the Raiders are going to take Love. So I could see the Jaguars hopping up to, like, let's say hypothetically maybe number 18. Maybe they trade with Dolphins and give the Dolphins another pick. That's possible. Or maybe they trade up to number 15 with the Broncos. Broncos still can get maybe a guy that they like at wide receiver at 20. So I think Love goes in that 15 to 25 range.
He's a dark
From
horse,
what I'm
isn't he?
hearing.
He could go anywhere.
From what I'm hearing. Remember they did this bet that Love was going to go above Herbert? Remember McShay did
I heard
that bet?
Yeah.
He's
That like the
gonna lose that
$5,000
bet.
one?
No, I heard it was Tony Paulino. Yeah, Tony Paulino, when they asked him, he's for the Pro Football Network. They said, "What's the chances Love goes before Herbert?" He said a resounding 0%. So the bet right now is to do Tua versus Herbert.
Let me throw a wrench here.
That is the bet. It's not Love Herbert. Love is not going to go before Herbert. It's not happening.
Wow. This should be a talking point, but I might throw a wrench here. What if the Dolphins? No, you would not agree with this. You would not agree Dolphins picking Love at 5th.
Oh, they won't. No,
Okay.
they're not gonna. No, a crazy wrench would be the Dolphins deciding at number 5 to, and I think it's not very possible. I think it's less than 1%. But they at 5 take Tristan Wirfs or Mekhi Becton, the offensive tackles, and then at 18 they take Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love's value at this point really is at the back half of the first round. I just think that there is enough apprehension by GMs, by execs, by people that make the decisions, not by Todd McShay, who does hot takes on ESPN, or Dan Orlovsky, who does hot takes on ESPN, but guys that make decisions that pay money. They just think the value of Jordan Love is more back half of the first round than the top half of the first round. So no, and that's why I think the Chargers, because remember you asked what's the possibility that Jordan Love drops, that Tua drops from 6, and I'm like, from what I'm hearing is Love's value is just later. So what are the Chargers going to do? Pass on a quarterback? Draft Isaiah Simmons at 6, and then draft maybe someone like Jalen Hurts or Jacob Eason in the second round? And I don't think they're going to do that. I think that at that point they just take a flyer on Tua.
Was Justin?
Because Tua still has top 5, top 6.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anyways, let's go to number 21, Denzel Mims. You've had him in all the predictions. He's going to Philadelphia.
I just, they need wide receivers. They desperately need wide receivers. They need pass catchers, and I think he's the best available. In my opinion, he's the best available. Some people would argue that Brandon Ayuk's a better receiver. Some would even argue maybe a Laviska Shenault, T. Higgins, or even some guy like possibly Jalen Reagor's better. I go Mims. We'll see.
Stephen Smith on Monday, who was on our podcast, not the Stephen A. Smith, the Stephen Smith from the Alabama website, had also had Trayvon Diggs going to Minnesota as well. So he agrees with
I
him.
hear they like him.
Yeah.
The reason why I have Diggs going to the Vikings, because I actually have heard firsthand that they have, or I should say firsthand, it's not true. Secondhand from a couple places that they like Trayvon Diggs. They need a cornerback. And I look and do I think Diggs is the third best corner? I don't know. I think the best corner is Jeffrey Okudah. There's no argument. The second best corner, in my opinion, is C.J. Henderson. CB3 in this year's draft. Is it Christian Fulton? Is it Trayvon Diggs? Is it Jalen Johnson? Is it AJ Terrell? Is it Noah Igabogane, or however the flip you say his name? I don't know. That seems to be a contention point. So I'm just going with who I'm hearing, what they need, and I went with Trayvon Diggs at 22.
Let's go with the Patriots, AJ Espinoza from Iowa.
Yep, that's who I think they go with, yes.
Saints, Patrick McQueen, LSU.
I think they got the best available player, and I think he's the best linebacker in the draft.
Same from last week. Minnesota Vikings, Brendan Ayuk.
This one's a tough one for me. Once again, it could be a lot of different receivers. They just need a receiver. They could also go linebacker. Kenneth Murray was someone that I kind of bantered about with, but then I decided to go with Brandon Ayuk. They need a receiver. I personally like Ayuk. I don't know if he goes here, but I like Ayuk.
Dolphins get Austin Jackson from USC.
He's good. He's a good tackle. That's good. Right there, 26, good value. That's a good pick.
Seattle Seahawks get Yetur Gross-Matos, possibly to replace Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, that's what I really think. Because of Clowning, they need an outside pass rusher. It's Clavon Chasen or Yetur Gross-Matos. I think Chasen goes to Dallas, so Gross-Matos will go to
You kept
Seattle.
Xavier McKinney to the Ravens at number 28.
Yeah, I'm just going to chill there. For some reason, they need a safety. I think he's the best safety. He's the safest. He's the highest floor. So I go with McKinney at 28.
Same for the Titans. You got Ross Blaylock, same as last week, same as this week.
Yep, Titans go with a defensive lineman, and I stay with Blaylock.
Again, you got your Packers getting Jalen Reagor.
Yeah, I actually my second mock, I actually went with Murray, and then Kenneth Murray because I needed an inside linebacker. But I talked myself back into Reagor. I just think they really need a wide receiver. They really need an explosive playmaker that possibly can be someone that can contribute on special teams. I think that Reagor is the best one there. Chenault's very tempting, though. Visca Chenault in the future.
He's good, isn't he?
He has injuries, though. And the injuries are killing people because of the coronavirus. But he's good.
Yeah. And 31, Niners got Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, once again, they need a cornerback. They obviously went wide receiver at 13, so they go back to corner. And I like Johnson. I think he's a terrific player. It's close between him or Terrell. I have him going to the Niners, and then the Chiefs turning around and grabbing Terrell at 32.
Which you have him. You just said it. Number 32, Chiefs get AJ Terrell, which you had him last week at the Niners, so he dropped it down a pick. Anyways, overall, Tyler, you're feeling good about mock number 3, or do you think there'll be more changes before the 20th?
Well, yeah, and can I talk through the second round a little bit?
We're running out of time really quick, but I can't go through every team.
No, that's fine. Just some teams like I had the Colts going with T. Higgins. I do wonder if Love is still hanging around if they trade up for him, but that's a good pick. I have a lot of running backs going. I have DeAndre Swift going 35 to the Lions. I have Jonathan Taylor going 39 to the Dolphins. I have J.K. Dobbins going 45 to the Buccaneers. I'm trying to go through it. I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire going 59 to the Seahawks. And I have Cam Akers going 63 to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think this is a very good second round for running backs. I also have a lot of wide receivers. Guys like Mike Pittman goes in the second round. KJ Hamler, T. Higgins, Laviska Shenault. So I think the second round is a lot of pretty heavy on wide receivers and running backs. And then there's still some good, got some defensive guys, some guys like Marlon Davidson, who's a good defensive guy. I have him going in the second round. Zach Bond. Kenneth Murray falls to the second round. I have him going to the Giants. It's a heck of a pickup by the Giants that they're able to get a first-round level linebacker in the second round. That would be amazing. And believe me, the Giants would be absolutely just ecstatic for that. And I'm trying to think of someone else who got a little bit better.
Jalen Hurts and the Steelers.
Yeah, that's kind of my surprise one. I don't necessarily think Jalen Hurts, and from what I hear, he has trouble with anticipation throws. He's not necessarily an NFL quarterback, but I think he fits the Steelers. And they decide they need someone in place because Ben's old. Ben's had several injuries over the last several years, so they decide to just go for it.
So you don't think
And
Steelers will get Cam Newton from that?
they could. They could. Now, I wouldn't rule it out. And if they pass there on Jalen Hurts, then yes, then I think they do take Cam Newton.
Yeah, because I heard he might get signed after the draft. That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, and Steelers actually does seem to make a lot of sense for Cam. But we'll see. That's one. And then Oregon, since I'm an Oregon guy, and I follow them, I actually have Troy Dye, who actually did a virtual pro day today. He ran under a 4.5.
How'd that go?
Wow. Well, he ran really well. His virtual pro day ran a 4.47. Now it's not official, it's unofficial, but still, I always thought he had great sideline to sideline ability. He's a linebacker that's 6'4", and he's long. So a long, rangy linebacker that can run, that can cover, that can get after the quarterback. I have the Falcons, who need a guy like him. They need a rangy, long, fast, good linebacker, and their options are Terrell Lewis from Alabama, maybe a guy like Malik Harrison out of Ohio State, or Troy Dye. And I have them going with Dye. So that's kind of another kind of surprise pick, because most people have Dye going in the third, maybe even the fourth round. I have him sneaking into the second round because he is that kind of new wave of linebacker.
And there you have it, Ty Turner. You can read his mock draft number 2, even though we went over number 3, and you can see it at thesportscast.net. I want to have a submission form for everyone to submit their picks, like their mocks. We'll see if we could do something on the website.
I know. I wonder where everyone else is at.
Yeah, it feels like it'd be interesting. But anyways, how deep? I mean, how many rounds can you predict? I mean, can you go all the way to the 6th round or 7th?
No.
Okay.
I was kind of straining at the end of the second, being like, is Thaddeus Moss to the Green Bay Packers at number 60? I think it was 2. It seemed a little bit like a reach, but he was a productive player on a national champion winning team. He has a pedigree. He's a Moss. So I kind of went. So by the end of the second round, I was kind of like Cam Akers, Thaddeus Moss. I'm like, these kind of reaching a little bit, but I would struggle with a third round. But I felt pretty good with my second round because remember, if you get a guy in the first 3 rounds, you think he's going to start for you. So the first 2 rounds in particular, these are guys that should be starting for your team within the rookie or second season. So I feel pretty good about that. But there's other guys who I'd watch out for. I'd some small school guys, but I think this year probably more so than any other year in recent memory, I think there's going to be less surprises because teams were not able to do their normal pro days and able to check out the prospects like they do in normal years. So I think this year will be more of, what you see is what you get. I think the mock drafts will actually be the most accurate this year than they've ever been.
Any closing words of this mock draft?
No, I mean, if we have 2 weeks to go, I think if I had to say 3 storylines to watch out for is, I'm trying to think of how to, well, number 1, Tua or Herbert. Who goes first? Who do the Dolphins pick? Who do the Chargers pick? Do the Dolphins trade up to get him? Do the Chargers trade up to get him? Does any more of this reports about Tua get verified? What happens with this whole debate between Tua and Herbert? Where is number 2? Where does Jordan Love land? Does he go in the top 10 to someone like the Jaguars or Raiders? Or does he fall and maybe possibly go in the end half of the first round to someone like the Colts or maybe even to the Green Bay Packers? And then number 3, I'm really interested to see how the tackles go and how the wide receivers go. So something like, who's the first tackle? Who's the first wide receiver? Is it Tristan Wirfs? Is it CeeDee Lamb? Is it Andrew Thomas? is it Henry Ruggs? So those are my 3 storylines.
Is this one of the best talent classes you've seen in a while, or like how would you rate this one?
Well, I'm really, really engaged in this draft for a couple of reasons. One, nothing the heck is going on because everything's been canceled because of the coronavirus. Number 2, Justin Herbert. I'm an Oregon fan, and Justin Herbert's a projected top 10 pick. And number 3, yes, it's a really exciting draft because you have some big-time quarterbacks, you have some really good receivers, and you have some really good offensive linemen. And I'm probably more of an offensive guy, even though I played defense. So, yeah, I just find it a little more interesting when there's a lot of good offensive players at the high end of the draft.
And defense wins championships. Random question of the day: who is the best wide receiver in the NFL draft? Jerry Jeudy is winning 66% to CeeDee Lamb 13 and Henry Ruggs 13, and Laviska Shenault got 6.7%.
That's Ryan Krista that voted for him.
Yeah,
Chris just likes Shenault, and I like Shenault. I tell you what, if 5 years from now Laviska Shenault turns into a 3 or 4 time Pro Bowler, I have him going at number 40 to the Texans to kind of take the spot of DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know. I could see it. I could see Laviska Shenault being the best wide receiver out of this class.
A lot of hype on behind Laviska. Anyways, Ty, what is the best way to reach you to talk to you about Laviska Shenault?
At TurnerCast.
And, of course, you can reach us at thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net, or on Twitter at thesportscast1. You can see Justin's Riley's monologue on, I think it's college football he was talking about. But we'll probably have more of those. Hopefully Tyler will have a short vid on the Sportscast soon enough to talk about his sports thoughts, I guess.
Exactly. Thank you, man.
All right, Tyler. I appreciate Rich very much for coming on to the Sportscast.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.